Hey there, Drew here, and welcome back to the Drew Saur coaching channel. If this is your first time here, thanks for joining us. This channel is for those of us who want to have stellar careers with a little less stress and, if we can, a bit more fun. My job is to bring you ideas that'll help you look at your career in a new way. I promise that if you try them out, you'll start to see the professional world differently. And more importantly, they'll start to see you differently. So this video is part of my series on success mindset. Because to have a thriving career, we have to understand how our own minds work. So the question we're trying to answer here is, do I have a strong mental framework for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve? And so what I want to talk about today is, how do you advocate for yourself? Now, most people know there are certain situations where you're expected to advocate for yourself, and most people are pretty comfortable doing so. So if you're in a job interview, the reason you're there is to convince them to hire you. So most people are expecting you to advocate for yourself, and most people are relatively comfortable doing so. What I want to talk about is some of those other situations where you're in a job and you feel like you should be paid more. You feel like you should have more responsibility. There's that promotion that's out there that you really want, but you're not sure if you're up for it. So how do you advocate for yourself in those scenarios? And I want to focus on three key building blocks. So the first is, why do you want it? What are the specifics around that? 2, why did they want it? Specifics around that. And 3, what are some options to get there? And those are the building blocks. So let's go through those one by one. So the first question is, why do you want it? And what specifically are you trying to achieve? So what does it mean to you? Is it the title? Is it the money? Is it the recognition? Right? The more specific you can be. If you say, I'd like to make some more money, and somebody says, okay, I'll give you $1 raise, my guess is that's probably not what you meant. So again, if you're talking about money, be very specific. Is it $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, whatever the number is? Get a sense of, what is it and why is that important to you? Well, if it's this amount, that's how I can take this nice trip. If it's this amount, that's how I can pay for my kids' college. Like, what is it that it's going to do for you? Same thing with title. Is there a specific title that you want? Right? The more specific you can be, the more prepared you're going to be. The other aspect that you really need to think about is, what are your must-haves? Right? What are the things that, if you really can't resolve this, you're going to go look for a new job? Example, if you feel like you're underpaid, and you're like, I need a raise, and I want 20%, but I need at least 10%. Right? If I don't get a 10% raise, that tells me that they're not really interested, and I'm going to look somewhere else. So before you even start to advocate for yourself, you need to figure out where your boundaries are. Right? What is it that you must have? What is it that you really want? Be as specific as possible. So that's step number 1, is do your own homework. What is it that you're actually trying to ask for? Right? Number 2 is, why would they want that same thing? Right? And a lot of people, when they think about advocating for themselves, they think about it as proving that they are correct. You should give me a 20% raise. Why? Well, because those companies, I did some research, and all of these companies pay that amount for what I do. Well, that's really a rational explanation about other companies doing other things. So as a manager, if you come to me with that, a lot of people, not myself, a lot of people would be like, well, go take that job if you think that's where the money is, because it's not really about the value you're bringing to this company, it's about what somebody else is doing somewhere else. So when you think about how to advocate, the question is, why would they, the company, your boss, your manager, want it? And usually that's because you can add more value to the company, right? You'll be able to do bigger and better things. You'll be able to, save money. You'll be able to create new products and new revenue. What are the things that they want if they give you this? So I'm a salesman. These are the easy ones, right? I'm a salesman. You pay me $100,000, but I make you $1 million, right? I want a bigger territory, right? But I also want to be paid more. So give me $150,000 and I'll make you $2 million. Okay, that's very simple, right? You pay me another $50,000, I'll make you another $1 million, right? That's a clear example. Obviously, it's never quite that simple, but that's a very clear argument where somebody will be like, of course, that's a great return on investment. So what is it that they get out of you doing this, right? And it's not about you. It's not about, well, it's what I deserve, it's what I should have. That's all about you. When you're advocating, you need to think about, why would they want it, right? And so again, think of it in business terms, think of it in returns, think about the value you could bring to the company. That's step number 2. Step number 1, why do you want it? Right? What are your internal reasons for it? What do you want? Number 2, why would they want the same thing? And step 3 is really options. right? Because effectively, you have your band of what you think is acceptable. They have their band with what they think is acceptable, and you're hoping to find a happy medium, right? So the more options you have, the easier it is, the wider your band, the easier it is to find a match between what you want and what they want, right? And so is it about money, right? If it's clearly about money, then that's what it is and that's what it is. But what about education? What if they gave you money to go get a degree? What if they gave you more travel opportunities? What if they gave you more flexibility in where to work? Are there other things that would be equally as valuable to you as just money? The more options you have, right? If you want the title, but what if they put you in charge of a major project, right? A project that was visible and would get you time with the senior executives in the firm. How much is that worth to you? Even if it's not with the title, is the exposure worth something? So again, the more options you have, the wider your band, the more chance that you're going to get something that you want. And those are really the fundamentals, right? You have to understand very specifically what you want, why you want it, why would they want it? Again, not about you, it's about them. And then what are the options that you're willing to play with in terms of coming together for a solution that you're both happy with, right? And there's obviously a lot more to it, but fundamentally, if you just do those three things, you'll be ahead of, I'll be honest, 95% of the people out there who try to advocate for themselves, because a lot of times they simply don't. And then one last kind of bonus thing for you, right? So if they say no, or they indicate that it's going to be very difficult, or sure, the magic question is, what would I need to contribute? What would I need to do to make this happen, right? I want a raise of X dollars. Oh, that's that's too much. We really can't afford that right now. What would I need to do to make that happen? And oftentimes you'll get an answer. Well, if you could launch this new product, if you could do this, that, and the other thing, well, then I'd be happy to do it. Okay, now you have a target, right? Now you know what the answer is in terms of what you would need to do to get that thing you want. And all of the advocacy that you're going to do for yourself is all to get down to that one point. Can I get an answer to my question? Is there a way for me to get that here? If I can get it today, awesome, we're done, check. If I can't get it today, what would I need to do to achieve it? And you want to answer that. If you can't figure out what you can achieve to get it, it means you're probably not going to get it. And that means it's probably time to look around for new opportunities or think of other things that you may want, because if you can't get any specific path, inertia is a tough thing to overcome. And too many times the answer is, well, I'll just keep working. Well, just keep at it. You're doing a great job, but we'll see. That just means another year or two where probably nothing's going to happen. So what happens if you don't do this? Well, nothing happens, right? You'll be stuck in that, well, I just hope maybe one more success will get me there. But chances are it won't. And it'll just drag on for another year or two where you could have done something today. So what's the exercise? Obviously, think of something that you want and go advocate for yourself. And it doesn't need to be big, right? I've talked about significant money, I've talked about promotions. It does not need to be that big. You can start with small things. Is there a project you could lead? Is there a presentation you could do? Is there a speaking engagement? Is there, a forum coming up that you could participate in? Start small, but get used to the idea of advocating for yourself, because the person who can make the biggest impact on your career is you. So try it out. Let me know in the comments how it goes. And as always, growing your career is a challenge, and it helps to have a partner. You can rope in a friend, you can hire a coach. And if you have any interest in working with me, feel free to go to drewsaur.com and we can find some time to chat. I look forward to seeing you next time.